So the Indiana Pacers at the trade deadline unload Caris LeVert and Domantas Sabonis. And to be quite honest, I think that they might have won the trade deadline. Welcome back to the channel, man. Today we're going to talk about the Indiana Pacers. This is one of the most intriguing teams in the entire NBA. One of the most intriguing teams. Tyrese Halliburton is one unbelievable basketball player. And already in just 2 games so far with the Indiana Pacers, he's demonstrating his worth. I cannot believe that the Sacramento Kings traded away Tyrese Halliburton this early on in his career. I cannot believe it. The Indiana Pacers, don't get me wrong, Domantas Sabonis is one of the most underrated basketball players in the entire NBA. One of the most underrated. One of the most talented big men in the entire league. But for Tyrese Halliburton, man, that guy should be untouchable. Tyrese Halliburton should be untouchable. And the Indiana Pacers, they got him. They got him. They got a draft pick in the Caris LeVert trade. They got Jalen Smith, a former 10th pick in the draft, only in his 2nd NBA season. Things are looking up. Things are looking up for Indiana. And this season, currently 19-39, they're on a 6-game losing streak right now. I don't think this is the year where they're about to compete, but I know that the Pacers front office is not trying to fully rebuild. What I think's going on right now is, first off, they had a phenomenal draft last year. Chris Duarte, for some reason, it was like the entire league was turned off by the idea of Chris Duarte just because of his age. And, you know, you can kind of understand that from, I guess you can kind of understand that in Indiana's situation, it is perfect. They're not trying to fully rebuild here. Now, maybe this season, due to injuries, some of the injuries they've sustained so far this season, your Miles Turner's beat up, Malcolm Brogdon's been beat up, TJ McConnell's been out for the season, you just traded away 2 starters. This is the year right now where Indiana is probably trying to acquire like a top 5 draft pick, and then next season, who knows? Who knows? This team is so intriguing. You have a 29-year-old Malcolm Brogdon who is putting up like 19, 5, and 6 on the season. Malcolm Brogdon is one solid basketball player. Right next to him, you have Chris Duarte, who is one of the most well-rounded rookies in the NBA right now. So you have a crazy kind of, not backcourt, but you do have a crazy backcourt in Tyrese Halliburton and Malcolm Brogdon, who, you know, we'll talk about Malcolm a little later on in this video. I think the Pacers might look to trade him away in the offseason. I feel like that might make sense for him. Chris Duarte there at the 3 spot. Number 4, I think that's kind of remains to be seen. Oshae Brissett. The dude can play. The dude can really play. You saw it on the Toronto Raptors. I can't believe he wasn't on a roster for so long. Oshae Brissett. He's so talented. He is so talented. Just give him an opportunity. And that's what he's getting right now on Indiana. So, you know, maybe he plays the 4 position. Maybe sometimes you go with Jalen Smith. Sometimes I've even seen some some kind of like lineup funness out there with the Pacers where you have Buddy Hield at the 3 and then Chris Duarte at the 4. Finish with Miles Turner at the 5, and you just go super small. You surround Miles Turner with shooters. That's interesting. But yeah, like I said, I mean, maybe Jalen Smith gets some run. Personally, I kind of want to see Isaiah Jackson. He's another rookie for the Pacers out of Kentucky. And this guy just dropped, like, what was it, 24 and 10 a couple of games ago with Sabonis being out, when Sabonis was out with injury and COVID. There's so much young talent on this team. And I don't want to forget about these 2 critical players. Terry, maybe not critical this year, Terry Taylor and then Dwayne Washington Jr., another rookie. These 2 players are very promising. And so that's why I'm kind of a fan of Indiana right now, where I'm thinking to myself, all right, maybe Brogdon gets shut down at one point this season. Maybe Turner gets shut down at one point this season. Even if those 2 players don't get shut down at any point, there's still plenty of opportunity for some run. But imagine those 2 guys go down just, you know, for health protocol, precautions, playing the future, playing the long game, and then you can just run out there Tyrese Halliburton, you know, Buddy Hield's not as interesting, but Oshae Brissett, you're running Goga out there, you're running Duarte, you're running Jalen, you're running Isaiah, you're running Dwayne, you're running Skies, like, you're running all of these young players. That would be very fun. That would be very fun. Now, are they going to win a lot of games? Most likely not. Most likely not. They had in their first game together, they had a really interesting game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. A very, very interesting game. They almost won. They almost won. And keep in mind, Cleveland, I can't remember right now, they're either the 3rd or the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. We're well past the halfway mark. So Cleveland deserves a bunch of respect. Lance Stevenson. I got to give love to Lance Stevenson too. He's making this team even more fun. So Indiana, we'll see how they decide to go about in this offseason. I mentioned Malcolm Brogdon. I think Malcolm Brogdon's a good basketball player, but I think the keys need to be handed to Tyrese Halliburton. I think Tyrese and Chris Duarte, that's a really interesting, intriguing backcourt duo of the future. I think that's the way Indiana should kind of go about the rest of the season is, all right, Brogdon, maybe you don't even shut him down, but, let's assume they kind of shut him down or stop playing him. So shut down. And you just kind of want to see, all right, how do Tyrese Halliburton and Chris Duarte as the sole backcourt, how do they look together? Maybe you throw, O'Shea at the number 3, you throw Isaiah Jackson at 4, Miles Turner at the 5 position, and you just see how is this roster fit together? How does that backcourt duo of Tyrese and Chris, how do they mesh? Because Tyrese is looking like the type of basketball player where if you give him the ball, if you give him the point guard position and you just give him touches, it looks like he's going to make all 4 players out there better. He's also going to get his bag too. He's also going to drop. We're looking at a possible 20 and 10 player next season. He might average 20 and 10 to end the season here in Indiana. Tyrese Halliburton is the future point guard of the Indiana Pacers, in my opinion. Or if he isn't right now, I think that's the direction that they need to go in. I've only seen 2 games of Tyrese in Indiana, but man, this guy's looking talented. We all know he's talented, but he's looking like if you just give him the keys to a team, he's going to make everybody around him better. So, Malcolm Brogdon trade might be in the works this offseason. I also don't want to forget about TJ Warren. TJ Warren's really interesting. A very interesting basketball player. This is a guy he'll give you 15 every single night. Kind of burst into the scene in the bubble where he was just completely going haywire. Some people like to say, oh, he was only going crazy because there were no fans. It's easier to shoot. Who knows? TJ Warren's a talented basketball player. He's a talented basketball player. And coming off a bunch of injuries, actually, his trade value is probably like little to nothing. So I would imagine he sticks around. But I'm really excited to see what TJ Warren looks like when he comes back and healthy. So if you don't see what I'm getting at here, the Pacers have a crazy mix of mainly young talent. There are some veterans, if you will, like Brogdon, Buddy Hield, maybe Miles Turner if you want to classify that. But for the most part, this Indiana Pacers team is extremely young, and they're set up very nicely in this draft once again. Next season, I imagine we're seeing some Indiana Pacers moves in just this couple of months in the offseason, in just a couple of months. So this is going to be really interesting. Drop some comments down below on the Indiana Pacers, but as always, hit the like button, hit that sub button for more NBA content.